Hello there, I'm Grant Murray. I'm a product specialist with A Systems, and today I'm going to talk to you about the DMA digital matrix amplifiers, specifically the remote software. So if you can see here, we brought up the first tab, which is the DSP tab. At the top of the page, you can see we're running the DMA 8825. The software version is version 1.114, and our current IP address is 192.168.10.200, and this can of course be changed in the software depending on your network settings. So if you look here on the first tab, the DSP tab, there's 4 cells for each of the individual inputs and outputs, and each of these cells can have a digital signal processor assigned to it. So if you right click the cell itself, the menu will come up and you can apply a delay, a dynamic processor including a gate, expander or a compressor, an equalizer, 31-band DEQ, a 4-band parametric EQ, a high or low cut filter, and a feedback silencer. And next, for the outputs, you can assign a 2 or 3-way crossover, and you can add a VCA. So as I said, if you right click the cell, you can add a signal processor. Let's start with delay. So delay 1. If you just click the cell, it'll bring up properties. So to adjust these virtual rotary controls, just push and hold the left mouse button to reduce the value, or push and hold the right button to increase the value. Here in the delay tab, you can see there's a temperature control, so you can set the current ambient temperature, and then you can adjust the delay time in milliseconds, meters, or feet. At the top of every page, there's a save button, so you can save the current settings and record them on a different channel. You can also delete any of your saved settings. There's also a reset button to return to the default settings, and an on-off button in each tab. Next, we have a dynamic processors, so let's add a compressor. You can adjust these right on screen, so adjust the thresholds using the mouse. And you can raise or decrease the ratio right on screen. You can adjust the other parameters right on screen. Next, we have the equalizers. For the 31-band equalizer, you can adjust the different bands by using the center rotary control of your mouse. And this will let you increase and decrease the value. There's also a Q control. Again, push the left or right buttons to increase or decrease. Next, there's a 4-band parametric equalizer. So all the bands appear on screen. You can adjust them just by dragging the points. You can adjust the type in the menu. So high pass filter, low pass filter, high shelf, low shelf. And the Q can be adjusted by pushing the left and right buttons. Filters work much the same way. The feedback silencer comes with 12 filters overall. And they can be changed between automatic and manual, depending on your preference. Next, the VCAs. So if you assign a VCA, to a number of channels. These can all be controlled simultaneously. So these have all been assigned VCA 1. They're all applied to group 1. And if you select fader, they'll all be controlled by the group 1 fader. Next we have a crossover. So much the same as the equalizer worked. You can adjust the high and low pass filters for the crossover right on screen. And if you look to the left and right of the DSP page, you can actually change the channel name. And at the bottom of the page, you can see DSP usage through the inputs and the outputs. The next 4 tabs are the matrix assignment tabs. There's one for channel in, mix matrix, network matrix, and the AES EBU digital matrix. And then each individual tab has a number of pages assigned to it. So here on the analog in page, you can see the analog in as they're assigned to the channel ins. The graph at the bottom here allows you to assign any channels to any of the inputs. And then the network in, these channels are taken from the Dante network expansion and they're sent to the channel inputs. Here we have a signal generator and SD card processor, so if you right click the on button, that'll bring up that menu and you can apply a sine wave, a sweep wave, a pink noise or white noise signal to any of the channel inputs, or you can play an MP3 file from an SD card. On the mix matrix page, we have additional buttons. An auto mixer button, which allows you to immediately assign the auto mixer to the individual channels. There's also an invert phase button on each channel and on-off buttons like on every page. Above these we have virtual faders. So signal level can be changed on the input stage, on the channel input stage, and the mix stage, or the mix output stage. Next page along we have the control panel. So this is for all of the amplifier outputs. Here at the top of the page you can adjust the name of the channel. There's a virtual fader that can be adjusted as necessary. On the right of this there's an output level meter. On the left of this there's a gain reduction meter. Below these we have buttons for turning a limiter on and off between pre and post fader, an invert phase button, and a button to turn the ducker on and off. If you right click the ducker button, it will change between ducker 1 and 2. And below this there's an on button for the channel. And each channel pair has a bridge button, so if wired correctly you can bridge the power output of the amplifier. Right at the bottom of this page there's a level control menu which lets you turn the front panel rotary controls on and off. And the right hand button allows you to turn the external remotes, the A-Systems RM2VR, on and off if they're connected to the unit. Next we have the network page. So you can see here the current user logged in. If we were to disable the power of the unit, we'd be able to change our IP address and user settings. Now we have the event page. So here we've got the current date, the current time. 3 already scheduled events. We can add a new event by choosing an event number, adding a subject title, a time, a date, a location, and a function. So here you can see we can change between a power change, channel mute, a relay, or SD card event. Power change, and we'll change the device into standby at 0 at midnight. And we'll do this daily. Then just update, and the event is added to your calendar. Now in the global settings menu, we have a number of tabs, each of which offers a number of functions for the DMA amplifiers. So in the analog in, there's fan and power available for each input channel. It can be activated by simply pushing the button. This is good for condenser microphones. Right next to this, there's a trim. In case you're using low impedance devices, you can connect these without the signal coming in too hot. And then there's a high pass filter allowing you to remove stage rumble from any inputs or any low frequency noise really. The global on off buttons allow you to turn analog inputs, network inputs on and off, all on a single page. Signal generator on off, and the AES EBU input, one for each the left and right. Now on the Ducker page, Ducker 1 and 2 are available. Here you can select your input channels in order of priority. Analog 1, analog 2, analog 3, for example. And then adjust the threshold, the depth, and the attack and release parameters as necessary. Automatic level control menu has individual tabs here for the analog input, mix input, network input, AES EBU input, and signal generator input. We have different fields for the target, the below target, ratio, increase gain, decrease, and the hold time. And again, for the limiter compressor is a page for the channel output, network output, and AES EBU output. This can be used in addition to the dynamic processor that's available on the DSP page. Now in the system clock menu, you can adjust the system clock. If you have external digital devices, they can all be connected to a word clock, and that can be set as your clock source. You can set it to the AES EBU device that's connected, or through the Dante network. But of course you can set that inside the device itself. So if we wanted to set the device to 44.1 kilohertz, just click there, hit enter to confirm. Below this we can see the DSP usage, just like on the DSP page. At the bottom of the page here there are power settings. So here you can see the device is on. So the power of the device is on. If I was to disable the power switch and disable the power, now the DMA amplifier is off. I can re-enable the power here. But with the power switch disabled, that means I can turn the power switch on and off at the front here, and the device is unaffected. I can re-enable it just by pushing that button. The GPIO page, this is used for relay or for preset control, like the RM4 from A Systems. This is directly linked to the events page. For relay control, analog in, channel 1. the RM controls. So this is for the A Systems RM6E programmable control. So you can have up to 8 controls connected to the device at one time, and each control can have up to 6 functions programmed into it. So each port will correspond to a device, and they're able to be locked and unlocked. In the utility menu, there's a scene function where you're able to save scenes directly onto the unit, which can be recalled by the RM4 remote. At the bottom of the page here, you can install new firmware if it becomes available. This is done by putting the firmware file on an SD card and just clicking the update button. The install will happen automatically. And on the bottom right here, there's an initialize button which resets the DMA amplifier to factory default settings. The final menu is for protection circuitry. So this allows you to view the current status of the power amplifier. Here there's a meter for the voltage of each channel, current, the wattage, power supply voltage, the protect reduction level. You're able to monitor the temperature of each channel, DC offset indicators, and amp shutdown indicators. And you're also able to view the fan speed.